So you guys have been asking for a long time for this, and today you're gonna get it. Curly hair, how do you deal with it? How do you manage it? Especially curly fine hair. How do you get the volume in the right areas? How do you make it look dense? Because we all know that curly hair can get big, but that doesn't mean it gets the volume in the places that you want it to, and it doesn't mean it looks thick like you want it to. So today, we're gonna talk all about that. We're gonna talk about different things that you need to know about the haircut, different things that you need to know about styling it, little styling tricks and tips, ways to style your hair that are gonna make it look a little bit denser, a little bit thicker, and overall, a little bit less frizz. So today is gonna be all about curly hair, and I'm excited to share it with you. So if you're new to me, my name is Justin Hickox, and over the last 25 years, I've done hair. In the last 20, I've owned a salon. And what I like to do on this channel is share hair tips, things for you to make your hair life a little bit easier. So if that's something that you're interested in, you're gonna wanna make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, so you get notified every Tuesday when I bring out a brand new video. But today, enough about that. Let's dive into some curly hair. Oh, and before we jump into this, this is the video. This is the one where I'm gonna tell you who won my 20,000 subscriber giveaway. Yeah, so keep your eyes peeled. It's happening today. Okay, so here is today's model. Now, before I jump into this, I am very aware that this mannequin's hair is not super fine, but I promise you, the tips I give today will absolutely be geared towards fine hair, and actually a lot of them will be geared towards curly hair in general. So even if you don't have fine hair, you're still gonna get a lot of value out of what I'm gonna share with you. Now, first things first, we need to talk about just the cut. The reason I like actually using mannequins in this scenario is because it shows what happens when it gets too thin at the bottom. If your hair is over layered at the bottom, for instance, you're gonna see what you're seeing right here, which is a very fine, thin looking end. Now, the problem with this is this doesn't support the right amount of layering so that you can actually encourage volume. All the layering, if you will, right now is down here. So what you're getting is this top stuff that's very heavy. It creates a little bit of this triangular shape. If you've got curly hair, you know that your hair tends to grow out more than it grows down. This is creating this very triangular shape. And again, it brings the eye down. It doesn't create lift and volume up here. It creates volume and width down here. So the first thing we want to make sure is that you go in and actually make sure that this bottom line is strong, so that then you can cut layers internally up here and create the actual volume and shape that you want. Typically speaking, in straight hair, you're in a situation where a lot of the overall shape can be created in the actual styling process. When you're dealing with curly hair, because of the process used to style it, we're a little bit more limited in how you create shape. So it's very important that the shape is cut into the hair with the haircut, so that when it gets volume in the right areas, and then when you dry it, you're naturally gonna have the volume where you want it. And many times, that's gonna mean layering. Even with curly fine hair, layering is going to help it look a lot thicker, a lot fuller, and again, create volume in the right areas. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna go through it, I'm gonna bring this length up a bit so that it looks stronger and healthier and allows me to support internal layering, which is going to lift this up. I'm gonna break this up in the front, lighten that up so that we open up the face a little bit more, and that's gonna allow us to get the volume that we wanna create. So first I'm gonna jump in there and I'm gonna cut it. Then when we come back, what I'm gonna do is walk you through the drying process, how you apply product, how you dry it, tips and tricks to make sure that you minimize frizz and get volume in the areas that you want volume. Okay, so we're back, and I've now given her hair a little bit of layers. I brought that length up a little bit to strengthen it up. So what we're really doing now is concentrating on what do we do when we dry it? How do you maximize the volume in the right areas? How do you minimize the frizz? And how do you get the shape that you're ultimately looking for? Now, the first thing is, when you get out of the shower and you towel blot your hair, first of all, make sure that you're towel blotting it, right? As opposed to roughing it up and drying it. And then make sure that when you go through to apply product, that it isn't dry in some areas. A lot of people will stop and put on their makeup or do whatever it takes, and then before they put on product, it's maybe been 10 minutes and the top will get dry, or maybe sometimes the ends will get dry, and it'll just be an inconsistent moisture level throughout the hair. You wanna make sure that it is not dripping wet, but towel dried, so equally damp from roots to ends. The reason for that is because it's gonna help the product distribute more evenly, and ultimately it's gonna keep it from diluting the product in some areas and grabbing on more in other areas. So you're just gonna get a better finished result. Then I'm gonna apply the product. Now there are a ton of products out there that work well. This is from L'Oreal, and it's from their Techni Art line. It's called Bouncy and Tender. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna work this into my hand like this, and then I'm going to work it into the hair from roots to ends. And the way I'm gonna do that is I'm not gonna comb through it. I'm gonna start by just scrunching it through the bottom, and then I'm gonna work it into the crown, and I'm just gonna scrunch it in to the hair. Now, some people have different application techniques. Some people will take their hair and get big ringlets and twist it back. The key is just to know that you're getting the product from roots to ends before you take a blow dryer to it. Keep in mind, I'll be linking the products below in the description because I always get asked. So just so you know, you'll be able to find them there if you want to try them. When it comes to curly hair, the number one thing you're trying to do from the point that it is wet and to the point that it is dry is minimize frizz. So what we want to do is minimize the manipulation to that cuticle. Now, one way to do that is to let it air dry. Literally let it air dry. But if you do that, you have to make sure that from the time that it's wet to the time that it's dry, that there's no manipulation. You're not touching it. You're not in a car with the window down and the wind is blowing and it's messing your hair up. If you look at curly hair and straight hair under a microscope, straight hair is shaped like a pen, right? Or like a pencil. It's round and tubular. Whereas curly hair is actually like a ribbon. It's flat. So imagine it kind of like bark on a tree, for instance. If you take that bark or that tree and it's flat and you bend it like this, the bark is going to come up, it's going to split, and you're going to see that roughness, right? In essence, that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to smooth your cuticle down so you can minimize frizz. So everything that we do, since we're not going to be taking a round brush or a flat iron, something else through it to smooth that down afterward, we have to do that in the drying process. So if you have time to let it air dry, fantastic. Most of us don't. So if you're going to use a blow dryer, here's the technique you want to use. So I've got my blow dryer here. Now first things first, I've got a diffuser. These diffusers, all they're doing is diffusing air so that it's not so disruptive to the cuticle. If you want volume in your hair, an easy way to do it is to tilt to the side so that you can get your roots up off of your scalp, or tilt upside down so again you can get your roots up off of your scalp. And you would hold the blow dryer out here, and all you're trying to do is add heat to the equation so that that heat dries the hair faster. It's whatever's easiest for you to get your roots off of your scalp and then allow that to create volume. What we're trying to do is create root lift so that it doesn't just get wide, it gets the right shape. The more you can get your roots to go the opposite direction of the way they're going to want to fall, the more inherent root lift and volume you're gonna get. If you tilt off to the side and you do this a lot, you're going to encourage more curl at the ends, but you're also, again, now you're adding more manipulation, which means that you're potentially adding more frizz. So now we've got her hair dried, and what I would do at this point is start breaking it up. And typically what happens is after your hair is dried, it's gonna be a little crunchy or a little bit kind of wet looking or whatever, not just kind of soft like you want it. Usually what we would do at that point is we start breaking up. Now this is also a time where you start encouraging a little bit more volume. So the key to this is go in and scrunch it, but do not comb through it. So for instance, you can go in at the scalp and you can do this to break it up, but then bring your fingers straight back out. Don't do this and then comb through the ends with your fingers. Now, the one thing you want to be sure of before you start going in and actually breaking up that product, if there's any sort of dampness in it, that damp area can start to get frizzy. Many times what happens is people think, oh, my hair is dry because it's warm. Just took the blow dryer off of it, now it feels warm and it can feel dry. But in reality, once it cools down, you realize it's actually still got some moisture in it. And once you remove the blow dryer, just allow your hair to cool down to ensure that it's actually dry before you go in and start breaking it up. Now that we've got all of that done, you can get an idea of, you can get an idea of the amount of volume that she's getting because we started to break it up with layers, right? When we tilt this forward and give it a little bit of movement, right? Shake it out a little bit, we can see that it's staying off her face a little easier. It's breaking this up a little bit more. She actually looks like she's got more hair, and if she flips this forward, right, or back, it's going to give it more shape, more movement, more texture, and more overall style. So that's why I say layering is such a beneficial thing for curl, even if you've got fine hair, fine curly hair. The things you want to pay attention to are making sure that you've got layers up here so that you can get some movement, but you just don't want a ton of layering down here. If it's fine and there's a lot of layers down here, it's going to look thinner at the ends. So with this, I've got this basically from behind the ear. This stuff back here is basically one length, but all of this stuff has layers and movements. She's getting the illusion of more density and more volume, but she's not sacrificing the strength at the ends to achieve that. If you want me to do an entire series on curly hair, I would love to know what you would want to see in that series. So do me a favor and comment below and let me know if I did a playlist, what would you like to learn? What are you struggling with when it comes to curly hair? I appreciate you hanging out. You have a fantastic day. Eat well. We'll see you in the next video. Bye. You didn't think I forgot, did you? Come on now. It's like my favorite part. You guys, 20,000 people. It's insane. So the giveaway, who won? Well, what I asked you to do was go out and do something nice for people and then comment and let us know. And you guys came through. That was a lot of people that I had to go through just to double check so that I could then randomly pick a winner. And who's the winner? Christy Price, you are the winner of the giveaway. Thank you so much. Just so you guys know, this is what you did. Christy, thank you for that. That was amazing. And you guys, I appreciate all of you for doing all of those great things. But thank you so much. You guys, have a fantastic day. Everybody stay well, eat well. We'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.